Hi, I got another match for us to review. Let me unpause my playback and get straight into it. This one's on Baltiisk, and I ran into FLX on the random solo queuing, which was cool. FLX, for anyone who doesn't know, is Felix is the lead designer, developer of the team that makes Broken Arrow, Steel Balalaika. So that was cool to run into him. I've got to play with him before, back in the November, I think it was multiplayer beta. I got to run into him, and then during the press matches, I got to play with him a couple times too, and actually talk to him. He's a cool guy, so I was excited for this match. As soon as I saw him, I was like, "Oh, cool! FLX is here again." No offense to Vampire Kid, Hexaskull, or Akinari on my team. I was just like, "Oh, FLX, I know you." So I picked my Sip Monster deck. I wanted to put out a good game, and I think the game turned out alright. So we'll jump into it now. We'll have a look at it. It's not a mirror. It's US versus Russia. I don't mind the mirror matches. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, mirror matches." I think they're enjoyable. I think they're fine. US versus US and US versus Russia. I don't mind either way. They're different, but they're fun for different reasons. I don't play much Russia, so I can't come out on Russia versus Russia much, though. I think Russia has more stuff I fear dealing with because as US, I've played almost nothing but US. I know the US options very well. Russia has some specific stuff that you need to worry about because I think the factions are well balanced against each other, but it's asymmetric. They have different strengths and weaknesses to each other. US gets lots of funny stuff that Russia doesn't. But when you're playing US versus US, you don't have to worry about that. But when playing US versus Russia, you could deal with, like, okay, Barbaruses and some of their vehicles. Get off there. Sorry, just doing my cats. Can do things yours can't. Coastal has a lot of cruise missiles. There's the incendiary grads. Just stuff you gotta watch out for. Anyway, as I was letting my team know, 4 guards armored players on the other team. I do generally like to take a look at how many players. Sorry, I was getting distracted by something on the screen. I like to see how many players on the other team are playing what specializations. If you ever want to check once you get to the game, you just click that players menu on the top right of the 3 little player icons. It's very good to know, okay, there's lots of guards armored players on the enemy team. Expect a lot of Barbaruses and Armadas, Sosnas, 57mm autocannons, all that kind of stuff. So I'm placing down my rollout right now, where I've put down a Patriot AA, putting down some supplies for it. And that's meant to be in place to cover our rollout. I typically don't try to go all fighters for the air attacks. I try to bring in a Patriot ground AA as well, because then if I'm outnumbered, if I'm like the only, or we just don't have any jets on our team, and the enemy has lots of jets, we can just play around our Patriot, hopefully. You gotta watch out it doesn't get seeded sometimes by clever people, but generally a good rollout that serves me well is 1 fighter, 1 Patriot, very early, and then I'm also just rolling out with a Bradley CFE, with some snipers inside, and I'll bring in more stuff as we go. Right now I'm keeping enough money that I can call in my second F-15 when I need to. I think it's fine to bring in 1 fighter and then bring in the other one a bit later. In this case, I didn't need the second one normally, I think. Oh, FLX is going over the Raptor, getting some sneaky shots off. I'm going to try to cover that Raptor, because the Raptor is much like the rest of the SOF specialization. It's high damage, but it's not going to take damage any better than any of our stuff, and it costs more. So whenever I see a Raptor going in, I try to cover it with my Eagles. I try to go in with it. In this case, though, you see that we're doing fine. When on Baltiisk, the spawns are close together, so it's very easy to overextend into the enemy ground AA. That's what we did there. I'm pretty sure that not Patriot, but whatever their ground AA system there is, took out like 2 or 3 of our jets. Here's the fight I'm really worried about, though, on Baltiisk, and that's why I brought my second jet in, whereas normally I'd probably wait until my first one got shot down or was damaged, or we just needed numbers, is I'm worried about this island fight. Every flag counts quite a lot on Baltiisk. Nice, get the 2v1, we take that one down. Oh, and then from the grave, they're like our 73 or whatever gets mine. Too bad. But every flag counts quite a lot on Baltiisk. There's only 8 of them, and they all matter quite a lot. So H is an important zone to fight over, as is G, over on the harbor there. If you're on this side, you want to aggress and put pressure on it, because it is one of the parts of this map. Baltiisk is one of these maps where amphibious play and airborne play matters quite a bit, because you want to contest the H zone, at least early on, especially. Because H tends to be a zone where people will... Someone gets to take it at the start because they won the air battle for it, to be allowed to drop helicopter troops there. And then, not always, but a lot of the time, especially, I think, at lower experience levels, no one will bother ever going to H again. Like, they'll just be like, oh, forget about it, it's H-Town, you know? Like, you can't take that place. You know, it's a huge pain to, like, D-Day assault that place after someone's got it at the start and put AA on it. And because of that, it can be a very low-effort, high-reward zone to take, because you just take it once at the start, and then you never really have to worry about fighting for it ever again. And vice versa, if you don't get it and the enemy does, it is a pain to get after that. Or can be a pain to get after that. So I think it's always very important in your Baltiisk rollouts to have at least someone going for that zone, and giving it a proper try. But it's not the only zone. You don't commit your whole life there, you just, you know, try to get it for a reasonable amount of investment, just like everyone else. Just like every other zone. Speaking of which, right now, Hexaskull on the team is saying, I'm alone in middle for 3 caps, what the fuck? I'm like, alright, I'll come. Always good to play with your team. It's really good when your team communicates and, like, tells you their problems, because a lot of the time the team will just play in silence in solo queues, especially in text. It's very good when the team, like, actually is like, trying to ask for help, and I try to at least respond, if not actually go and help them whenever I can. My Stinger teams I've landed are taking out another Russian gunship, and a transport healer trying to land some guys on the island. Not sure if we actually get it there. Hopefully that Comanche will. I don't think I ever stayed here to, like, see what happened afterwards. Looks like we got it, I think, because the Comanche's flying away. And I'm just resupplying those Stinger guys to get more ammo, because they've used it, and then giving them some back and forth zigzag Q orders on the zone there. So that they actually stay in the area long enough to cap the zone before they move on to some queued up defensive positions to be a bit more forward to defend future helicopters, because it looks like that Russian transport almost got its guys on the ground, which we don't want. That makes it a lot harder to hold. Anyway, I was originally rolling out to the B zone, but I dropped my snipers there to keep eyes on things, and then sent my CFE over to the right to the C zone to help out Hexa, who was asking for help. I'm not the only one. Akernir is bringing in troopers in those Global Hawks. That's Ranger's Javelin, I think? Did they get their own icon now? That looks like the Cav Scouts icon. But it must be Ranger's Jav. Yeah, because you can't make 8. I guess Ranger's Jav have their own icon, I never noticed. Anyway, Ranger's Javelin, I guess. And my Bradley, I wasn't really paying attention to what, maybe an ATGM, but they're taking a bit of hurt there. In the right, they're backing up. There's a BTR coming after them. For some reason. They want to come and finish me off, I guess. Maybe they got something scary inside there, I'd have to assume. Some kind of GRUAT or something. Generally with motorized, who are the users of the BTR, unless it's, I think it's coastal and motorized, the 2 Russian specs who have the BTRs. Generally motorized coming at you like that, they're going to have GRUAT inside, they're going to be like, ha, like, fuck you, I'm going to kill you. Or, you know, they're Moto guards armored, and they're going to have Gavardi Motostroki inside, which has a really good AT as well. Russia has a lot of really, really high-powered infantry anti-tank weapons, like RPGs. You have to watch out for where US really only has, like, I think 600 pen is as high as our close quarters AT gets. Our MAWs and our like, better versions of the AT4 on some units. But of course, we get the Javelin, which they don't really have anything comparable to. So, ATGM-wise, we do have better ATGMs. Theirs aren't bad, though. They get some very high penetration ATGMs as well, but nothing that's like top attack. I think. Non-infantry, anyway. So this is me apologizing. I try to call out C whenever I see those planes come in too. Whenever you see those that icon, those Su-24s coming, I believe it's specifically the Su-24 MP is the seed one, or that can carry seed. I always try to call it out. Try to call it out for your team if you can too. It's important to let everyone know, hey, turn your radars off. Here comes a seed attack. But anyway, I did have to apologize because I felt like it was really important. I sent my guys back to B. My mech NGs here. B and that hill to the right of it is a very important place to play on this map. The place where that delta is right now and the barb's coming through, all the way from there to the B zone on the left. It's a very important part of the map to play. If you don't hold any of that, if you don't even contest it, the enemy just pushes straight through you and takes your E zone, which is your backline, and they'll wreak havoc in your backline. It's literally the center of the map. But because it's so wooded and there's that hill in the way and there's a zone in the way, and honestly because this map is quite short between the spawns, it's very easy, I think, to forget how vulnerable you are through that area. I think it always feels a bit safer than it is, like, have that be open, but it really isn't. And in this case, you know, we've got hell going on the right side. Like, they've pushed way through C, and they've got guys in the skyscrapers that really we want to be holding most of the time on Baltiisk matches. And, you know, they're kind of breaking through, they're flanking my supply point there. I do need to come over and handle that, but I also really felt like someone needed to take B before that becomes hell as well. Anyway, in this case, I've got a AMPV with 2 units of mech rifles in it. So I run them out and do the micro of splitting them up side by side so that we're going to be able to flank that barb, and the barb can't just turn its front armor towards both my mech rifles. The AMPV would have lived, but there was a Spetsnaz GRU surprise inside, so unfortunately, those RPGs we were talking about before, they're going to fuck up my AMPV. Now my poor mech rifles don't have any transport. But they still killed the barb, so good for them. Barbs are worth a lot of money, so for as annoying as they are to deal with, they're worth a lot of money. And while I take out that barb and I'm trying to secure that area, which is also really important in that middle area because of the sniper position I have right now, also an incredibly commanding recon position to hold. Very important to try and contest that. Always assume the enemy has that too if you don't have it. Anyway, while that's happening, Vampire Kid on the right here is bringing in, like, Striker City? What was that? No, it's like labs? A lot of wheeled transport. I think those were ACVs. They have a whole bunch of SOF in them. And I mean, hell, I feel anxious just looking at that much shit clustered in one area to get nuked or bombed. But, you know, you have to admit, someone had to do something in that middle there. They were breaking through us, and the enemy is yet to bomb all that and punish it. And by God, God damn it, Mint Green there, Vampire Kid, is taking back the middle. God damn it, all those dead transports have popped out all of those Marines in SOF, and all those Marines in SOF are just making like this fun run. Sprint towards C now, they're sprinting out. God damn it, it's working. It's goddamn working. All those labs, those ACVs, those Amtraks, they're pushing up, they're taking that damn zone back. Violence of action and overwhelming power is very important in Broken Arrow. I think the difference between lower experience levels playing this game and after you get a bit more experience levels... Ooh, that shit blowing up, but it's cheap though. One of the biggest differences is understanding that you have to bring a lot of shit, or understanding how much shit you have to bring to be effective. I think it's easier early on to use like 1 AT team, 1 tank, 1 helicopter, 1 or 2 artilleries. You know, just like a real world maybe amount of shit you would use for an engagement. And then go, oh, this doesn't fucking work. I just got beaten by, like, dumb units I thought I'd counter. Like, this game sucks. It's like, what you need to bring an amount of shit. You need to bring shit because your shit's gonna die, so you need redundancies. You need to have 2 tanks, because when 1 tank gets cluster bombed, you still have 1 left. Whereas if you only bring 1 tank, you just get cluster bombed, you're done with tanks now for a while. Similarly, you need to bring, you know, often, like with the mech rifles where we kill the barb, 2 units, because 1 unit will just get flanked by the Barbarous, which will, like, auto-turn to face the infantry unit attacking after the first, you know, ambush. So, you know, you can bring 1 mech rifle and be like, I can't kill barbs, this game sucks. But if you bring 2 mech rifles, it's like, oh, I can use 100 points of unit to kill 290 points of Barbarous from the enemy. You know, it's... You just need to know how much shit you need to use, because if you don't bring enough, it was useless. And understanding that is very important to getting better at this game. You need to understand that sometimes it's not that the unit sucks, it's that you didn't understand, you just did not bring enough shit to overwhelm the enemy's defenses or statistics. You gotta do that. You gotta bring enough. Quantity has a quality all of its own. As they say. I think the day in question is Joseph Stalin. I probably should be quoting Stalin on video, but whatever. Hey, someone said that. I don't know who. Hatsune Miku. I had a weapon squad engaging down the middle of the road there before it got killed by, was it like a TOS barrage, an artillery barrage or something? Weapon squad, ironically, is one of the units you don't need to use in large numbers to get at least effectiveness against a single vehicle. Weapon squad is actually a unit that works better alone. I find if you bring a lot of weapon squad in one area, or like you stack them together, airborne weapon squad, they're not really that much more effective because the enemy will just pop smoke against all the javelins and you just waste more javelins at once. And weapon squad is one of the few units that can get through APS on its own because they ripple fire their javelins. I think my laser might be accidentally screwing up that rocket strike there too. It wasn't intended. So I like to use weapon squads. I like to combo them with other infantry, as I've been saying in my recent, new video. Usually another airborne squad. But I tend to not stack weapon squad and weapon squad together. I think that's redundant a lot of the time. If I do want more weapon squads in an area, it's because I want to fight more than one vehicle at once, in which case having more than one is good. But I don't want them firing on the same target. And I'll typically have them in separate squads, like little platoons. So I'll have like airborne plus weapon squad in one building, and then a few buildings over I'll have another airborne plus weapon squad. Anyway, we're seeing them here. There's the combo I'm talking about. I've got airborne stacked in there, and they're helping to soak a bit of damage for the weapon squad. At the same time, weapon squad is firing off its javs. Javelin has already got the scent of that pink tank as the tank smokes. Still manages to pick up that enemy tank and kill it in the smoke because javelins have a seeker that will pick up targets through smoke if the javelin is close enough before the enemy smokes. They've got their own optics value that can penetrate through the smoke if they're close enough. So, one of the reasons Javelin is just an incredible ATGM. I think the funny thing about Javelins on the US side... Well, hang on. I want to talk about the B zone here, fight that's happening. But we'll just say that I think a lot of the options you get to bring them are often the problem. A lot of the US squads that get to bring Javelins are kind of like overcosted in my opinion. But Weapon Squad is not one of them. Weapon Squad is a really good squad to bring Javelins with. Because you get two of them. Which is really important in an APS world to have two launchers. Anyway, they're just really good at that. We're killing another Barb over here with mech rifles, which we always love to do. Mech rifles are a deceptively good option for anti-tank. Two mech rifles together. A mech rifle on its own, yeah, sure, it's a 50 cost unit, it's weak, but it's 50 cost. You can bring two of them for about the same cost as a Marines unit, and they're kind of like a Marine squad that you can split up and do the individual squad micro with, as we're seeing against the Barbs. Whereas a single Marine couldn't flank a Barb by itself like that, because you can't split the squad up. So anyway, they're popping out there. We've had to kill that Barb. We're trying to kill some shit here to take the B zone, or hold the B zone. I don't know if I already held it. I hope we already held it, because otherwise we're not going to get the points for that. I think it got neutral, so I'm not going to get the flag control here, because now that Terminator is going to, unfortunately, stop us from capping. So not an ideal first phase. We stop the enemy from holding it, but we don't get the flag control ourselves. Oh, it's going to be close. No, we're a second off getting it back. We can also see it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have given us more flag control, so whatever. At least we didn't let the enemy have it, because that I might have given them some points. But we end phase 1, 0-1. I think they had +1 from KD there. On the map, this is a little secret that I found out later. I didn't realize because I was so busy here on the mainland. But actually, you can see that the enemy sniped the H-zone from me. On the minimap, you can see it turned red right before the end of the phase there. So that's a clever little covert operation. Which we'll talk about a little bit later, because... First of all, oh god, there's a T-80 here. I don't mind giving up the zone now, because it's going to be 15 minutes before I need to hold this area again. It's not ideal, you still don't want to lose the flag. But if you're going to lose the flag, you may as well lose it at the start of a phase, because you've got plenty of time to take it back. Doesn't matter here, though, because the Bradley is here to let you know that it's actually better than U-Tank. Especially when you have no APS. That double tow 2B launcher, it's just like the weapon squad. But because it ripple fires like that, the second tow is launched as soon as the first one lands. A Bradley is, 1, capable of getting through APS on its own. 2, if you don't have APS, it can just kill you. It's basically launching semi-active javelins, yeah, because they're top attack as well. There's quite a bit of reload time in between the double shot, but the double shot itself comes out as quickly as the missiles can hit the target. The only problem is, as you'll see here, there is a minimum range on the tows, so at this point we can't be relying on the tow to kill this new thing. That's why I'm just kind of chasing after it with the Bradley, trying to autocannon it to death. Unfortunately, Russian 57mm autocannon there on the Guards Armored Recon BMP there is going to be better than my Bushmaster 1, I think, not even Bushmaster 2 on the Bradley, so I'm going to lose that fight. I did learn a weakness though, the 57mm recently, that I think it's got a really it's got like a minimum range that I think is worse than the American autocannons. Something to exploit. Anyway, we just lost that middle area because of that big hello from Gold Player there, bringing in GRU AT, which I can't handle because they are AT. I don't know if the AT load actually, but they still have some AT either way. And they also have like suppressed weapons for close quarters infantry clearing. So there's no way we're gonna want to stick around there if our snipers need to get out. You can see my teammate there who wasn't paying attention, you know, is busy somewhere else, or just doesn't move the snipers. Unfortunately, their snipers do die. I need to move both my snipers. I didn't realize those back guys get spotted that easily, but they get spotted and they died instead. I do get one sniper out. And you can see why I did run that sniper, because otherwise they would have been dead like the other two. I'm bringing in some supplies and some helicopter reinforcements, I think, to replace what I've lost out of my squads. This is a pretty not great looking moment. Oh, but now I realize what's happened in H. So this is the thing about H, is I try not to overinvest in H. If you really want to stop what just happened to H happening, you need to place your guys better though. Because or have more shit, because actually what you can see is they have vehicles on H. Now I'm not sure if they swam that across, or if they did an amphibious, or if they did like an airdrop landing down the strip. There's two ways to take back H if you don't overinvest in its defense. Two ways you can be got really easily. One, the enemy has cargo planes or just lift helicopters, and they drop vehicles on the runway side, on the south side of the island. That's usually far away from the zone, so if you don't like decide to invest extra AA down there, then it's easy to get that in. The other thing is that they just drive from the G harbor side across to the H zone with amphibious transports like BTRs. You can stop that with a tow team, which is cheap, not too much extra investment. Just put a tow team, like where the middle of the screen now on the coast of H that faces towards G. And you can stop the other thing, the airdrops down on the runway side of the island, by dropping in some cheap AA like some Avenger SHORADs or even some Stinger teams, but I generally do Avenger Stingers. Down on the south side, and I heli drop them in and let them watch that side for when people try to do that cheeky airdrop down there. But the thing about H is, no matter what you do, unless you overinvest in the defense, an enemy will be able to, like, brute force, just send tons of helicopters and jets and just bomb their way through into a costly but effective drop on you. It's like any zone. Like, if it's not going to be fought over a ton, overinvesting in its defense is probably costing you too much tax overall. So even though I've done, you know, the giant Sand Island Defense Force before, where I, like, kind of have maybe 600 points defending it, in this match, because I wasn't playing the G area, I didn't overinvest that much. I think it's worth doing that when I'm going to play G. My favorite thing to do on this map is to play H to G. I'll take the island, I'll secure it with, like, a bit more investment. I try not to overinvest, but a bit more stuff. Like I was just saying. And then I'll try to play that G point from this direction. I'll screen F. And I'll try to do an amphibious assault or helicopter assault onto the pier to the right side of the screen now, right side of G Harbor. Because the enemy expects being attacked on G less because of the water gap. Just like H, it's harder to attack from this direction, but I tend to have decks that are reasonable at it or good at it. And putting pressure there diverts an enemy player towards it usually, and I usually feel pretty reasonable about taking that fight on. So it's good to pressure that point and not leave it be a free one for the enemy. But the other thing is that if I'm playing H, I'm right there next to G, so it's very easy to keep my attention on those fights. And pushing G generally means the enemy doesn't do the sneaky stuff on H. Whereas if you just take H and then you don't take G, you'll tend to have a player on the enemy side, as here, kind of goes, oh, I could probably, you know, I'm not really being pressured on G, like our team's not having trouble on the mainland, I'll just, you know, go snipe H. So those points are better played together, but in this match, because I wanted to be playing B, I've learned from experience from beforehand that if I'm over here playing the middle of the map, I just don't have the ability to really zoom my camera around and play between the middle of the map and the far right side of the map, you know? So I didn't try here, I was just like, I'll put a small force on H, if it holds, it holds. And meanwhile, I'm going to try to play the center of the map instead. Because playing the center of the map, while it's, you know, holding B is no more flags than holding H. It's just positionally, you need to have enough people playing the left side of Baltiisk here. From this side, or, you know, if you're on the other side, playing the right side, I guess. You need to have someone playing this center, because it's a very important, powerful position, and if you're not playing it, you're gonna crumble. You need this area held in Baltiisk, or being pressured. In this case, I don't get in the building there until I really wanted to snipe those ATGM teams getting away because of how I'm getting hit by that, I think it's the Terminator up on the hill there, it's still there. I didn't want that to happen to my mech rifles, so I stay out of the building to ambush the BTR and just like sit underneath the enemy ATGM teams and kill them until the ATGM teams ran. Once they ran, I wanted to finish them off, so that's why I get in the building there, even though it means taking fire from the Terminator on the hill. It's okay now because the Terminator is dead, just in time because I'm pushing my guys in. It's also timed well with, I think that's Vampire Kid again on the left, mint green. Coming in with a ton of stuff. Vampire Kid just seems to be like showing up places with like this giant like wheeled madness convoy. To kind of help us punch through areas. I like that as a style, honestly. I like that kind of team play of where it's like, you're just showing up and you're just going to like do this massive attack. Well, FLX isn't over there right now. FLX was playing A before. I think FLX got pushed off the point again because FLX is having like a meat grinder at a time, I think 2v1. But FLX is coming in now, I think, with them. I think FLX is that, Felix is that neon green, bright green. So it's good timing as well. There's like the three of us basically pushing back in here hard right now on the left side. I was talking about before about how, you know, quantity matters. Also, like, violence of action matters a lot in this game. Just showing up, not just with a whole bunch of stuff, but showing up very quickly and just getting it done, is very impactful in this game. And so 3 players just showing up all at once with this much shit, we're hopefully going to make some territory gains. As long as you don't fuck up all our units. But speaking of which, in this case, I've got some weapon squad getting caught in the middle of the road, unfortunately. Against a bunch of ATGM carriers down the road. Luckily for me, they don't take out my truck. And Felix's tanks come in and secure B for me, which is good because this deck, while it can push the more... I put some more like mech rifles and mech NGs in so I can push a little bit better with them. But the airborne troops themselves, while they're incredible at defense and even neutral in engagements, they're not ideal at pushing. So it's great to have someone here kind of help me get into the area so I can be more efficient. You can see me here doing what I was talking about before. Heli dropping some Avengers over here to prevent... Because I guess I was like, oh, they must have airdrop vehicles. I think in the end it was a BTR. I think they just amphibious swam it. But I thought it was like an airdrop. So I brought in some Avengers here to make sure that didn't happen again. It's 200 points, it just sits there. But I'm not using the Avengers on my mainland right now. Or not all of them. The enemy has been very heavy with a lot of their helicopters. And I wanted to prevent H from getting sniped again. I shout out to my teammate for taking back H because I just did not have the mental bandwidth to go and, you know, micro my Stinger team and try to take the zone back. But they dropped some deltas over there and got it done. You can see that recon BRM is still in the woods there. It's like immobilized apparently. Apparently we messed it up before we died. Am I sending weapon squad in there? That's not a good idea. I hope it's dead. Maybe we killed it? Weapon squad can't kill shit at close range, so that's a mistake if I thought that thing was still there. Maybe I thought they were airborne squad, which can kill things at close range. Anyway. Finally replaced my Patriot back here too, which I think got killed by artillery a while ago. Or I'm just bringing in the second one. I replaced my Patriot before. Bringing in the second Patriot to help with the AA more. You can see big problems in the middle of the map again for us here. The enemy has made a giant breakthrough through C once more. It probably all started because they took that middle hill again and are able to just kind of waltz through. I want to try and fight for the right side, but I've just been busy with B. It's been a tough match. Oh, there goes both my Patriots from a seed run. Didn't see it coming. Didn't toggle my radars off. Whoop, whoop. I asked you in the last video, I said, let me know what you're having trouble with, and the thing I saw someone ask was, how do you deal with seed? So I'll probably try to make some time to talk about that. Try and do a video on that soon. Because otherwise, I'm fucked up. Otherwise, I was like, hey, ask me what you need help with, and then I ignored it. So I'm going to try to make time to deal with that. Got my weapon squad here. They're not in the building of the airborne, so they're taking extra damage from that artillery because it's all going onto them. There's no one to share it with. Their APC gets taken out, so I need to micro them again to get them moving. Please get them moving before the mortars hit! Move! I think they're going to die. I haven't really noticed yet. Isn't it crazy how tunnel vision you can get? That one health unit is right there, right in front of my eyes, but I'm not looking at it. I'm just, like, looking at everything else. I haven't even noticed that the APC's died yet. Unfortunately, I didn't queue my helicopters out right there. I needed to queue them backwards before they RTB'd, so they just fly across enemy SHORAD there and die. My weapon squad is dead. I didn't really notice them to keep the brain into cover. We had a bad little introduction for the guys there, where they were running across the street. Unfortunately, the airborne squad was leading. They have no smoke, so they got attacked by the tank. They lose half their health immediately now that platoon's ineffective. Little moments like that matter a lot, like... The difference between that being an effective little combo ability and ambush some vehicles, and the difference between it being just, like, dying on getting to the AO and just being useless is, you know, a few moments of inattention as it first arrived. And now those infantry are just wasted, unfortunately. It's not the end of the world, you gotta keep going, but it is something to, like, tune up in your play over time. Tune up in my play over time when I see happening more, right? It's like if you're wasting units like that a lot, where they just, you know, why do you even bring them in? They're just, like, coming in to die. It's obviously a part of your play you need to tune up over the long term. I'm generally not too bad at it these days, I think. I try pretty hard to not waste my units. But in that case, bit of a blind spot for me, I think. I don't know, something distracted me, I don't know what, and I just didn't really keep babysitting them out of that situation. Maybe when I queue up, I get in a transport order like that, I should queue up another one afterwards just in case the transport died. I think I just wasn't expecting the transport to die, I don't know what killed it. I'm bringing a bit of armor now myself, actually. Because, like I was saying, the infantry in this deck isn't really the part of it that's built for pushing. I think the mech rifles and mech engines are good at pushing. But I think they're either, you know, dead or on cooldown, the mech rifles. Now bringing in some tanks here to try and provide a bit more help, not just for the B zone and, you know, my own designs, but also I know that Felix has been having a really tough time on the left. You can see it right now. There's 3, I think, guards armored players, but definitely 3 players all pushing in. Oh, hang on, sorry. I have to pause this. My dog wants to go out. 1 second, I'll be right back. Pause. Alright, I'm back. I'm at 16:39. I'm unpausing. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, like a lot of pressure. God, there's a red drone there as well. Lot of pressure on that A zone. This is kind of the thing about Baltiisk, is you need to play. You need to be worried about H zone. You also need to be playing G, that harbor zone. Because I'm not worried about H, I'm not playing on H. Well, not worried about, you know, because I'm not playing H, I'm not the one pressing G, because I know I can't devote my attention between there and here. Cluster bomber! Oh, one of the trophies gets taken out, but the other will survive. I'm not there, but, you know, I think you really want to have someone playing G on this map. Because if you don't pressure the G zone, all of the enemy side's attention just gets to bottleneck itself, just come and pressure itself you on A, B, and C. And that means you're, like, having a lot of enemy players just come and fuck you up on these 2, 3 zones. Which is what's happening to poor Felix, unfortunately, over here. And Vampire Kids 4, so I don't see any Vampire Kids units left. There's just a lot of Russian attention in this, like, tiny little area, and it's hard to deal with. That thing that happened to my other tank there, the cluster bomber, that just kind of happens as I've been playing against better players. Like I think I was saying before, is you just have to bring enough tanks. My theory at this point is you just have to bring enough tanks to account for that. Like, if you bring one tank, it is going to get cluster bombed. Once I started playing against, like, more experienced players, this is just the thing, I do it now too, is when you see an expensive enemy tank, you trade a cluster bomber jet for it. That's just how it goes. It's very hard to stop the cluster bomber jet beforehand, before it gets its bombs off. I actually was paying attention here in hindsight to see which zone, but I also know one of my teammates just clutched. I think it must have been Felix on the left there on A, just got the zone just before the phase ended. And so we got +2 points in that as well, which puts us in the lead now, which is really clutch, really nice timing. But yeah, it's, you know, it's very hard unless you have like a loitering fighter or something to stop a cluster bomber that's at low altitude, high drag, getting its bombs off before it dies. Or you know, shoot it down before it gets its bombs off, sorry, is what I mean. And because with good micro, you can kind of like correct the bombs to where the tank even dodges to, you know, you're probably more often than not just gonna lose a tank to a cluster bomber at least once. When you bring in tanks, it's gonna happen. It's worth the trade. And that I've just been learning, you know, at first I was like, oh, I just can't fucking play tanks anymore. Like, good players just see a tank and they just cluster bomb it. But now it's more like, just bring more tanks. Bring at least 2, because one's gonna die to cluster bombs. You know, bring more if you can. Probably when I get my tanks to the front line, I should just reflexively call in a backup one, just knowing that they're not going to last that long. That's just how tanks are, is they're a very high-value target. People are going to spend a lot of time killing them. Nah, but they're still worth playing, though. Even if they don't get, like, all their points value in kills before they die, just for the pressure they provide, they're still often worth... And, like, the pushing, the amount of ground they can take, they're still often worth it, even if they don't get a great KD, personally. Using the smoke micro to kill that helicopter over there. It's very important. I think I've talked about this before, but again, because SHORAD units have very high optics against helicopters, I won't explain the whole science behind it again. I do that every time. To keep it short, if you're sitting in smoke as a SHORAD unit, you can often see and attack helicopters while they can't shoot you back. It's just a funny little quirk about SHORAD units. There's science behind it, but I won't get into the details this time. So that's how that Avenger there was able to just sit there and fight off a much scarier Russian gunship, because the gunship just can't shoot back. The Avenger just gets pelted it for free. Very important stuff to know when you're using SHORAD vehicles, because otherwise your Avenger just gets one shot by an ATGM like immediately in that fight and doesn't really do anything. But once you know how to use the SHORAD vehicles like that with their smokes, one single SHORAD vehicle microed properly can fight off, you know, tons of helicopters at once. It's very good stuff. Definitely changes the game, because otherwise helicopters really get to bully SHORAD in 1v1s, especially Russian ones. Now I'm finally trying to take back the hill point here as well. I didn't see what I was typing there because I wasn't paying attention to it. I was probably laying out my plans for them, but what I'm trying to do here is take back this hill, make sure there's no enemy snipers or recon up there, because it's horrible to let the enemy have recon up there, and it's very important to have your own recon up there. Unfortunately, I'm getting hit by ATGMs from the right side. Popping smoke a little bit late there. Felix is saying he's having a really hard time fighting, you know, can't like fight for A and bring in his own artillery and stuff like that. Not enough points. So I'm just trying to ask, like, what can I do to help you? You can see right now, yeah, like the enemies pushed us back pretty far on A. Even though we clutched the zone, Felix clutched the zone with Vampire Kid's help for the end of the phase. Now we've been pushed way back. Felix is trying to stage back there in the forest. And, you know, orange player there is kind of like pushing through into the supplies, which isn't good. Artillery's coming in. I'm bringing in my Fex here. I'm not sure what I saw. But I'm imagining I'm trying to counter battery some AA or artillery here, usually. These will go through because my harms are going off. Ooh, yeah. Because my harms didn't fire, I'm like, oh, they haven't got, like, you know, radar AA on all. So, like, you know. It's kind of the sign to do a bit more airstriking. If you see the enemy's AA just, like, isn't really up to snuff. I don't know what I fired on them because I wasn't paying attention to the screen, but three gold skulls. Hopefully it was a good target. And meanwhile, I'm just doing a little bit of staging myself to try and press out here. I've got my Airbornes in little M113s with slack gauges, quite survivable for what they are. We're going to be trying to get them into buildings so we can get them into good positions to kind of deal with all of the metal around here, all of the mech. Terminator's firing off his ATGMs. One of them just misses because I guess the line of sight got broken. Nice. Works for me. I got my one surviving SEP here. I'm going to try and put some hurt out with. Got weapon squad moving up here. Just barely avoids that APC getting blown up by another ATGM. And then they smoke. They're going to back off. While the enemy will try to cluster bomb you, the way to not get cluster bombed, or the best defense you have as a tank, is to keep moving. Don't be predictable. Don't stay in the same place. Easier said than done with how slow tanks move sometimes, but do your best. Do your best. Mobility is your only defense against the cluster bomber there. I mean, you want to make sure you have AA to stop the cluster bomber so it's not as effective of a points trade for them. You want to kill it after it's dropped the bombs, but you typically aren't going to stop it. We don't get back into that, though. We're just worrying about what's going on the screen right now, which is bringing in another tank, and the enemy's got a pretty strong hold on all the zones. RKD is holding fine right now, but we're on the cusp of being destruction scored on as well. That's good. Someone on our team just killed something, and we're not doing as bad on the destruction gap now. I'm trying to push in with my more pushy units, my AMPV here. Moved away from the mic, sorry. My AMPV with mech rifles, which is my more go in and get shit done unit than the airborne squads. I'm just trying to get a foothold here. Push my line forward. I haven't really got any recon spawning for me right now. So I'm just kind of like recon by force, just face checking. Trying to get some guys in here. I'm trying to take whatever positions I can in my airborne squads that will cover Oh, I wasn't paying attention to my trophy. Oh god, why was it there? Oh, because it was coming down the road as a reinforcement, maybe? I don't know. I don't think I even noticed that in the match, that I just fed a trophy tank to those ATGMs on the left. I don't think I even realized. Mistakes. I can't believe I did that. I don't think I even realized that in the match. I needed to call that in somewhere else as a reinforcement. When you call that in around the B zone from this side, it'll drive down that road, and I guess that's what happened. Oh, that hurts to see in review. Anyway. I forget what I was saying. I'm stun locked now by... Whatever, we'll just move on. That was a bad one. You just keep them coming, though. Don't worry about it. Pink's moving some nasty armored through that middle hill. It's a very important position, and we still don't own it. I'm not sure if we will by the end of this match. There's only 7.5 minutes left. There's not a lot of time for planting seeds and growing gardens now. It's all about reaping the harvest. At this phase of the match, you need to be making shit happen. I got my trophy coming out here to kill this BTR. And it looks like my teammates are taking out that guard's armored push that's going through the B hill. Which is good for me and bad for me, because they're driving it back towards my trophy. Which would have been great for my trophy to ambush, but there's a fucking Diversanti RPG there, and then I think they just finished me off. I don't know if the artillery helped there as well. Diversanti RPG is very scary. Because it ignores APS. It's one of like the only RPGs in the game that just ignores APS. So that trophy feeds there as well, or I feed that trophy. I'm doing a lot of feed. I'm the reason we're behind in destruction score so much now. I've just fed like 800 points a tank in the last 2 minutes. Not good, especially not at this phase in the game where it's all worth so much, so many points in phase 3. God, Diversanti RPG is such a scary unit to run into as a tank. It's so scary. But we've got to start taking some names back. I've got mech rifles here, which are hopefully going to get that barb. No, they're out of ammo. It's messed up, but I'm going to send in the AMPV to try and finish it. And I'm taking back the B zone. Because my trophy died, I think we still got some pink stuff that's on my right. Yeah, there's some engineering there. That barb's trying to get away, but someone else is going to pick it up on the left there. As soon as I've capped, and, you know, as soon as I've had my fight with the barb there, my mech rifles are already running. I leave the AMPV there to cap, but I run the mech rifles away because I have to expect artillery to hit me, and of course, there it is. Expected it at all levels of play, but certainly at higher levels of play in this game. Always expect to be artillery or fire supported. Out of 5 enemy players, someone probably noticed your guys just be good. And it's kind of like War Thunder. It's all about the revenge bombing, baby. When you lose a fight somewhere, just fucking artillery them. Fuck you. Like, there, in that sense, I got artilleried and I got incendiaried. Russians love their napalm artillery against infantry play. They love it. They will just see you have infantry living, existing anywhere, and they'll be like, how about some fire? Luckily, if you keep your eyes on that, and with the recent sprint cooldown buff to infantry the devs gave us, you can generally get out of fire pretty fine, as long as you're not too hurt already. But you gotta keep on your feet. You gotta keep moving. It's like World in Conflict. Keep your infantry moving. That's seed again. I see it this time. I'm not turning any patriots off because I guess mine are dead and I never replaced them. Apparently I sent over some toes and stingers to help with the bulges. Breakthroughs are happening in the middle as well. They need a bit of resupply there, so I'm going to send it. We are holding B right now, but it's a very tenuous grip. Enemy Armada there takes out my snipers, which have been sitting there for quite a while, I think. I'm not sure, I don't remember if those are the starter snipers or later ones I brought in. But it's all coming in now. Felix is back on A. We hold B, but we don't have anyone on it. We own B, but we don't hold it. I've got to bring out more of these troops waiting in reserve in the woods. Pinging the Catrans back there, the cruise missile helicopters that are resupplying. I don't think I have anything to really deal with them right now. I'm checking into the Brutuses, but I'm not in range. Don't think I use my Brutuses much this game. At least they're cheaper than Iron Thunders, I guess. To forget about. That little BRM there, it's messing me up. Just trying to get my Airbornes into the buildings, just trying to push this zone. I've got mech rifles in that APC now. I'm not sure if I ever had time to rearm them or if they're still really hurt. Right now my attention is taken up by that is a big guards armored push on the left. But again, that solitary weapon squad is already dealing some damage, already doing more than half health damage to one of those armadas. I just can't play. No, those mech rifles haven't been resupplied yet. I just can't play without my Airborne these days. My Airborne weapon squad It's like the one infantry unit that like lives that fantasy of long range like ATGM sniping tanks so hard. They're so good at the long range ATGM game. They're just so good at it. Those armadas on the left, those are expensive tanks, and they've both been tracked. They're both fucked up. We've got to finish them off, but they're all fucked up. My weapon squad is putting out more fire to help on the left lane there. There you go, another armada or T90, whatever that is, getting fucked up. Let's go, this is the moment. It's time. Big reams of fire. I don't even know if... I assume that was us dropping like F-18 runs. My weapon squad's here is out of ammo, which means they've done their job well, but also they need to get resupplied. Pushing in. I think that's Vampire Kid again, mint green. Pushing in their classic Wheeled Madness Assault, which is kind of helping put the cat amongst the pigeons, helping to disrupt the enemy's defense here as I'm also pushing in my Airborne. This is that classic end of Phase 3 kind of push. Everyone's just like attack moving onto the zones. Like, I probably wouldn't normally be having my Airborne just like walking forward like this. I'd probably be waiting for like vehicle support again or something. But it's time, you know, it's time to go. Get it done. Infantry can fight in the open. They don't need woods or buildings. They're still units. They can still fight in the plains. My snipers are getting taken out on the right side as Pink comes in to try and spoil our attack on B from the right. Felix calls for an airstrike, and I can very quickly see why as I look over. I call it in. I've got the money. Good to have some money left to call in these definitive airstrikes at the end. Strike Eagle coming in. I think it's my first Strike Eagle of the match. It's always good to have that thing on you, though, in your deck. I've set it and forgetted it. I'm changing the run just at the last minute here. You gotta be careful, because if you change the run too much, you'll fail the run, you'll have to abort it. But if you just make minor adjustments without changing the direction too much, you can generally get away with it. And in this case, we get the airstrike in for Felix. Oh, Pink is here, Maroon is here, Red is here, all of the enemy players. They've got GRU and tanks and Shimmerviki pushing on B. It is a hell of a push. I'm calling for air support on B because I feel like we need it. I feel like, alright, now it's my turn. Scratch my back. I need help. Luckily, Vampire Kid is pushing in with me. I guess technically the name is Vampire KD, but whatever. I call him Vampire Kid from how I read their name. They've got their vowels. It's up to me. That GRU is getting taken out. My Airborne is like fighting to the last breath. Standing in the napalm, just trying to get rid of that GRU so we can cap the point back. Because if you don't start capping by 30 seconds, you won't get it back. Luckily, we do take that GRU out. The Comanches come in from Vampire Kid for the Call of Duty finish. That Airborne actually lives after fighting through the fire. Heroic. And I actually start calling my guys out of the zone there. I need to be careful to make sure Vampire Kid's units were actually in there, because if they weren't, they're on the edges there because they're moving through, and if they weren't, we wouldn't have capped that flag. But I moved out there because I thought Vampire Kid was also capping it with me, and I didn't want to be a bombing target to like upset the KD at the last minute. That's why I got out of there. I should have been careful though. If those units weren't popping through the zone, I wouldn't have got that flag. But anyway, it works out. We don't get bombed in the end, but it's just precaution. And suddenly, you know, that game was looking pretty dire, like 7 minutes ago. I mean, we were ahead, I guess. It was looking dire for both sides, but it was looking pretty undecided. And then suddenly at the end, it's just like everyone takes all their flags. On the right, Hexa and Acroneer, I think, took C point as well. We get like a massive destruction score lead at the end there, just killing everything. And it's like a really big, nice finish. Which, as I was saying, you kind of get that with Phase 3 sometimes. It's like when you play like a hero shooter like Overwatch or Rivals. And it's like, you'll spend 5 minutes in like the first round trying to take the first objective and no one can do anything. And then like it goes into overtime and suddenly your team just locks in. And it's like, alright, let's just win now. Because like the timer's on, the pressure's on, everyone just like plays harder. I think the end of Phase 3 matches is a lot like that in Broken Arrow. You'll see a lot of... You see a lot of, like, those really just crazy, hectic Call of Duty, like, battlefield moment pushes. Just, like, everybody's on the ground, just rushing the zones. Everybody's, like, pulling out every last card to play. And everyone's just, like, putting everything they have on the line to, like, just score every point they can. And you gotta watch out for that sometimes, because sometimes that will actually... Sometimes that can actually be bad, right? Because people throw too much shit into one zone and it all gets nuked and bombed and you lose on KD. But as long as you watch out for that, as long as you're not clustering, which you should never do because of nukes and big bombing runs, that's the way to go, definitely. Put all your effort out. It's the moment of truth. It's a pretty good trades this match. A lot of our units, after scrolling through here, got some pretty good work in. That Airborne's going down the bottom. Also some losses. Typically, when I'm scrolling through losses, I forget if I've said this before, I I don't sit here and look at every single trade and analyze each individually. I just kind of go, did any of their units kill like more than 1 or 2 of my guys for a cheap trade? Like, did any of their cheap units kill a lot of my expensive units? Did any of their cheap units, or did any of their units like get the feast on like 5 of my guys before dying? That's usually a pain point to try and recognize and analyze and go, okay, that was a mistake in the match. And usually I already know that. Usually I'm already like, oh god. But before I get here, when that kind of thing happens to be a match. And in a similar way, when I'm looking at my kills, I'm looking at how many of my units got to like kill like 8 units before they die. That's what you're going for, right? How many of my cheap units got to kill a really expensive unit before they died? In this match, the kills losses log looks pretty reasonable. So yeah, I mean, overall, fun match. Big finish. Fun match. And it was fun to play with Felix on the left side. Of course, I didn't really get to pay much attention to playing with Felix on the left side because I was just focused in my own world. I was lending a bit of support with the weapons squads and tanks at times, but I was never really playing with him that much. But, funny thing about that is after this, I went to Felix on Discord. I was like, yeah, great game. Let me know if you want to play again. Let me pause my playback because we're done now. And Felix was like, yeah, we can do one in voice. Just give me a second. So he'd already got to another one. And I ended up, taking a 40-minute break and then coming back, and I played a couple of rounds of them after this, and we got in voice together. So I'm going to post those ones as well, and those will be different. I'm not going to do post-match review commentary of those ones. I'm just going to post us with our voices on. It'll be a little bit different for me because me actually playing as someone, like I actually wanted to play with Felix in voice rather than just, playing our own lanes. So we actually played zones together, and it was a lot of fun. I actually really like those matches. I don't typically play with other people much. I played with Lima a bit before, which I've got some videos of him I should go upload as well. And I also get to play with Vulcan a bit. But it's different. It's interesting after playing so much solo to actually play with someone in close communication. So I look forward to putting those up. I'll probably put them up alongside with some more match reviews like this to keep both kinds of content coming out. So I'll probably put up, I don't know, maybe that other Baltiisk where I got accused of cheating next. I don't know, for the match reviews. Not sure which. While I'm also trying to upload those more live commentary ones with Felix. Hopefully you enjoy both kinds, but if not, the match reviews will still be here if you just want the post commentary. But yeah, it's also fun to run into Felix because I know how much he loves the game, and I think that comes through. I don't want to sound like I'm glazing too much here, but I think that comes through with games when the developers really love playing their own games, the passion for it. I think it comes through in how Felix is in charge, the lead of the multiplayer balancing, and I think it comes through in why I think the game is very well balanced. Is one, he's talented, and his whole team is talented, of course, too. But two, him and his whole team are playing the game a lot. They're really into the game, and I think that's why BA feels so good. Is they love the game. You couldn't get when Felix was playing in November, not November, the press beta with us, not beta, the press matches. You couldn't stop him from playing. It's great when you have devs who love their own game and want to be playing it, because that's when you're gonna get they're really in tune with how to balance it and change things. So anyway, I didn't want to sound like I was glazing too much, but I do just love that when you see that in games. It's a lot better than when you play games where the devs don't really play their own game and it shows a lot. It's oh man, what are these changes? What are these balance notes? Anyway, so I look forward to putting those ones up. That'll be fun. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this. I think I really covered a lot of the stuff in the match, so I don't need to recap too much of it from this one. But yeah, with Baltiisk, I'd say the biggest takeaway from reviewing that one, apart from, don't fucking lose your SEP trophies, doing dumb shit with them as I always do. But the biggest thing is, with Baltiisk strategically, positionally, try to be pressuring the harbor and don't give up on the island zone. They're harder zones to take if they're across water from you, I know. But those are real flags. Every flag counts on Baltiisk. And not just for zone control, but also pressure. Because if you don't pressure the island, and you don't pressure G in some cost-effective way to use Shore, but if you just forget about those points existing, you never try to do it because there's water in the way, all of the fight becomes about just half of the map. And there's so much shit there, and it can become its own kind of nightmare. So just definitely think about that when you play Baltiisk, is pressure really counts. You definitely want to be distracting people's attention to not just be able to focus on a few zones. And, oh boy, a little bit of pressure on G and H, even if you don't get those zones, can go a long way to distracting the enemy. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this. My dogs are barking. I think they want some breakfast. So I am going to wrap up this recording. I'm going to go and take care of that and get to my stream. I'm going to start streaming for the day. GG to all of the players as well. Good game, very well played from everyone. And I will, catch you in the next one. Next ones, hopefully soon. We'll try to get that video out about Seed as well, too, because I've got some things to kind of explain about how to set up your AA. I've learned the hard lessons, unfortunately, of how to deal with Seed, what works, what doesn't. Short thing I'll just say now, don't cluster up all your radar defenses in one small area thinking that they'll defend each other. It doesn't work like that. I don't really want to, like, get into it right now, but basically, you are going to attract too many missiles at you because of, you know, the more radar pieces in the area, the more Seed missiles you're going to attract. We'll go into that in more detail, though, in a video about it, because it is something we should cover, because that person asked about it, and I said, tell me what we want to have explained, and I'll try to explain it. So I'll try to do a Seed video soon, saying, like, here's how this is all working, here's how to think about it in your matches. But, you know, promises, promises, I'll try to actually get it done. I'm going for now, to go and get to work in other ways, so I'll see you for the next one. Thank you very much, let me know your thoughts and comments, let me know what else you want to see, and, yeah, good luck in your matches. See you for the next one, bye-bye everyone, have a good one. So yeah. Oh, and I forget if I mentioned this in the last video, but if you want my decks, I do post links to them now in the description of these videos, and I update them all the time in my Discord thread. So you've got links to that in the description. Hey, I will catch you next time. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye. See ya.